Given all of this earworm chatter, we might have time for another earworm before we go to your 11 o'clock ABC News. But it is an important day to think about your brain because it's National Train Your Brain Day. Let's talk more about that with psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens with me now. Good morning.
Good morning, Susan.
Lots of earworm chatter today, and you were just telling me that you use them in sharing your learnings.
I did. So in some of the courses that I teach at the university, I would actually incorporate music into the lectures, at the start of the lecture, for the break, because there is good evidence around what music does for us in terms of our learning. But then, yes, I was a little bit naughty. I would always, at the end of the lesson, play what I thought would be an earworm. It was always my music, of course, and they weren't allowed to leave until the chorus, so I would hope that it would sit with them all day.
So let's think about Train Your Brain Day. Why is a day like that so important?
Just like our physical fitness, our mental fitness is incredibly important, because if we think about all the functions of our brain, it supports our cognitive health, our memory, influences our creativity and our general well-being. So it makes sense, doesn't it, that we can do things that helps to keep our brains agile, thinking and functioning, so helping us clear some of the fog. So we know that the good news is there's some really simple things that we can be doing every day that really does help contribute to our lifelong mental fitness.
Let's talk about some of those things, those daily exercises that can to get those brain messages firing. What are some of those ways that we can challenge our brains daily?
Really anything that gets us thinking. So probably most of the things that would naturally come to mind for people are some of those things. So, because what we know is routine is incredibly important for us, but often when we're in routine we don't have to think too much. So these are the things that get us thinking. That they might be things like crossword puzzles or Sudokus, learning new words, anyone who's learning a language, that's a great one. Music, we were talking about music before. If you're learning a musical instrument, all of these things are really useful for us in terms of our brain training. So you can do those activities, but as I said before, routine is really helpful for us.
Yes.
We'd just as likely be having a conversation here about why routine is important, and it absolutely is. But sometimes changing our routine just a little bit gets us thinking and gets the brain and the cogs going. So we know all of that helps to stimulate that mental flexibility and growth.
So there's real evidence that things like crosswords or learning a new language makes a difference for our thinking skills?
Yeah, there's substantial research. It's obviously been, our brain health is so incredibly important throughout the lifespan, but I guess a lot of us notice how important it is as we get older and we tell ourselves we become more forgetful. The reality is everyone is forgetful. It's just that 4-year-olds don't think that it's an age issue. 4-year-olds forget just as much as we do, but there is plenty of research there. And the good news is too, you don't have to do too much active brain activities to get some benefits from it. The research is there to support it, and it's a really practical thing that we can do to look after ourselves.
So something that we can do at all different ages. How can we encourage parents, teachers to encourage kids to train their brains?
The nice thing in schools is it's constant brain activity, isn't it?
Yes.
We thank our teachers for that and the environments that they
Absolutely.
create. But also if there's ways that you can do things as a family, and it can even be things like remembering a shopping list. Maybe you take the shopping list with you, but if there's 5 items on it, can you remember it between the car park and the shops? I struggle with that one, I have to confess. But you can turn little games into things that we do. I even saw an ad, because we're getting all the ads for Christmas coming now, that there's one bonbon company that it's not just a standard bonbon, but it's like an escape room. So you can get those kinds of activities. Yeah, we tried an escape room once, our family, and I just paid a lot of money for us to have an argument. So that wouldn't work for my family, but there might be other families that find that quite beneficial.
Nice to change it up, as you said, though. Change is good. Finding in a different environment, why not?
Curious and creative.
So, talking about brain fitness, what role does social connections play?
Incredibly important. So we can be in our just general interactions with our friends, with our family, in our community, and that can really help us to stimulate conversation, debate, new perspectives. So there's always lots of collaborative things that we can potentially do. And when we have some of these great community events like we all do in our regions, if your museum's putting something on, or the art gallery, or there's something happening out in the parks and so forth, there's a chance, in addition to getting outside, that there's ways for you to think differently, stimulate your mind. So we do know that social engagement is incredibly important for us in terms of our general well-being, but it's also incredibly important for us in terms of our mental fitness, our mental health and our brain fitness.
You mentioned that a lot of people, as they get older, there's an assumption that you will be more forgetful. Can older Australians and people benefit from train your brain activities as well?
Yeah, certainly the research that I've read suggests that it's never too late to be incorporating different activities to help us with our minds and with our thinking. And we know what that does too, is it helps to support us in terms of our confidence. So never too late. And these activities can help us in a very real way, even though they can be fun activities, which hopefully they are fun. We want to keep doing them, but it helps us to maintain our memory and our focus and our independence.
Yeah. And that's a big one, isn't it? So what's one practical, brain-friendly routine any of us can do, or all of us can do?
Yeah, I'm sure, even though with the busyness of our lives, I'm sure there's 10 minutes in there somewhere where we can, and what I would suggest is maybe this is where you can rely on your routine, where you might do that particular activity. For me, it's the Wordle, and sharing it with friends, so I've already done that this morning. But we know that trying different things, trying different puzzles, and it could even be something that you do on your phone. I know we're always telling people to get off their phones, but if it's something that gets you thinking and challenges you, any of those kinds of activities can be really helpful. And some of them, the reasons why some of them are so compelling and have us doing them every day is because they do give you opportunities to track your progress and so forth. But maybe you can set up a game of Scrabble with somebody next door.
Scrabble with friends.
Scrabble with friends. You could do it online or next door. But any of those kinds of activities will be really helpful. And I think it's, as much as anything, is recognising the importance of it and then working out how can I prioritise this in my day in some small way to test my brain and keep my mental fitness up.
Psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens, thank you very much. We should all add some Scrabble or some backgammon to our to-do list for the day. I love that idea. Thank you very much for being with me today.
Good to speak with you.
Thank you. You are on ABC Radio Queensland.